Arab leaders are attending the final day of a summit of European leaders in Cyprus, where the war in the Middle East and Ukraine have topped the agenda. Europe's been focusing on potential steps to reduce Europe's reliance on energy from the Middle East, as well as efforts to diversify supplies. The European Union imports around 14% of its energy from the Middle East, and much of that flows through the Strait of Hormuz.
Everybody was very clear that the freedom of navigation is non-negotiable, so the Strait of Hormuz has to be open without any tolls, and we need to make efforts for that. And of course, as we have the Operation Aspidas and Atalanta actually in the region, the fastest way to put this coalition of the willing together is to use those missions to ramp them up, to strengthen them with ships and tools, capabilities that are needed.
There are companies that are currently benefiting from the rise in crude oil prices, and therefore we need to take coordinated action so that, as we did during the Russian energy crisis, a tax on large energy companies is introduced again to help finance a large part of the measures that are currently enabling us to protect citizens, businesses and industries.
Now, Rory Challands joins us now from Jazeera in Cyprus. There is this big meeting today. We are expecting a statement. Is it going to say very clearly we're pivoting away from Middle East oil?
Well, they've already been saying that over the last few days, that they've been trying to find a way to essentially diversify EU energy supplies, to put more emphasis on electrification, trying to boost things like heat pumps in houses and electric cars and that sort of thing. To do that, they are trying to readdress the tax burden so that taxing electricity always comes in lower than taxing fossil fuels. But they're not going the big guns that they went after Russia invaded Ukraine back in 2022. They're trying to keep some nuclear options in the tank in case the energy situation gets worse. But as we heard from Challands there, what the EU is trying to do is to position itself as part of the solution, essentially, to this conflict, not part of the problem. So trying to safeguard safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, but of course it's saying it will only do this once the conflict has finished and the firing has absolutely stopped. Challands was talking about how there are two ongoing naval missions in the region, Aspides and Atalanta. She wants those to be beefed up as a way of safeguarding energy supplies through the Straits of Hormuz and essentially positioning the EU, although it says that this is not its war, as a way for this whole situation to de-escalate and get back to normal. But the EU's military potency is always a point of question.
Now, we've seen some major leaders of Arab countries there. What are they hoping to get out of the summit?
Yeah, so some pretty important people arrived here in the last hour or two. President Sisi of Egypt, President Aoun of Lebanon, al-Shara of Syria, the Secretary General of the GCC, the Crown Prince of Jordan. They were all invited basically to come here to talk about this ongoing crisis in the Middle East with Iran. I think that the outlook that the EU has at the moment, the concern that it has, is that its relevance as a diplomatic actor in the Middle East is increasingly in question. At a time when this whole region is in huge turmoil, it wants to show that it is an important player still, and that it has these conversations. It can invite these people, they can come here and they can discuss things, and the EU is at the end of a plane ride or the end of a phone line when leaders such as Sisi and Aoun and Shara, etc., feel that they need diplomatic help in sorting out problems in their part of the world. This meeting, though, is not necessarily about definitive decisions at the end. This is an informal meeting. It's more of a talking shop, it's a brainstorming exercise, it's a dialogue. Don't necessarily expect concrete action to be taken off the back of it.
Rory Challands live for us there from Nicosia. Thank you.